Hope you're doing good. So today we are in a new section or a new module where we would be learning about errors and exception handling. I'm sure till now you have really seen lots of errors while working out different problems. So in those, what is it? It can be syntax error, value error. What else? What are the different errors you have seen? I'm sure you have seen indentation error, EOF error, right? EOF, even EOL, end of line error, end of file error. Then there are many more errors like in this whole Python world. Okay, so if you would have been working with the calculator, then you might have seen zero division error as well if you have made a calculator. Okay, so these are few different stuff. All right, so today we will be working on this only, that what are the common errors and what are the exceptions that we can work with. Okay, so let's start with it. First of all, let's talk about what an exception is, and even let's talk about how to work with them. Okay, so exception is basically some condition in the program where it interrupts whatever we have written or the flow of code. Okay, whatever the flow of code we have written, there is some issue with that. That is the reason you get some kind of error or exception. All right, so whenever that thing happens, that exception is there or that error is there, what happens? The program, it generally stops there and it gives that in this line you have this error, right? So what happens? Unfortunately, the whole code is not running because of that error. So it can be anything, it can be a runtime error, it can be something else, but what is happening during runtime? Python is not able to handle that error. That is the reason you get it. Okay, so this is the exception which is actually represented as a error. Okay, now Python gives us a proper way that you can handle these exceptions without any interruption. Like you can just write some codes and you can just pass those errors. If those error comes, you can just show some message rather than showing those red lines of errors. Okay, so Python has many built-in exceptions already for this. Now I was telling you about few errors, right? Value error, then syntax error, many more. So the common exceptions we can say related to this is mostly zero division error, indentation error, value error, syntax error. Syntax error also has many things, right? So then you have end of line, end of file error. These are few of the errors which you find. Okay, so let's talk about them one by one. Okay, so actually there is a whole module about this, and there are so many things you can do. You can completely make your code work as you want with the help of this, and you can raise error, raise exceptions. I'll actually tell you whatever word I have used, I'll give you example for all of them to make you everything clear regarding this. All right, so first of all, if I talk about syntax error, when do you get syntax error? Let's say if I write print hello, okay, And if I run this, what do I get? Syntax error. End of line while scanning literal, right? This is what I'm getting. So what is missing over here? Another quotes is missing over here. Okay, this was the syntax error. Now, if I talk about exceptions, let's say if I print 2 divided 0 and try to run this. Zero division error. That is what is zero division error. Now, if I try to write this down without defining what this word is, then I'll get a name error. That this I have not defined. This is not any variable yet. And then if I try writing int hello, definitely you can't turn this into an integer. So this is a value error. Okay. So these are different kinds of errors. Now let's do something. I've showed you few errors. Let's try and let's work out with the errors so that you don't see them anymore, but rather you see a message. All right. So let's go with zero division error at the first. All right. So I'm just removing whatever is there in front of you. For zero division error, let's say a is equal to, let's take a number int. Okay. Input A. Take him. Now B. Again, I'll take int input. Let's take B over here. All right. And also let me give a space. Now, what do I want? I want to keep this in C, and I'll write down A divide B. All right. Now, if I do this, let's say print C. Okay, simply print C. And let me run this code. And I need to put in A, let's put in 2, and in B, let's put in 0. So it's a zero division code. It will not go any further after this. Let me show this. Print hello. Okay, let me print hello just after the code, and let me again give 2, 0. Have a look. That doesn't work. Whatever is there after this line will not work. It's because you have got an error. But I want to print this line. How will I do that? So there is something which is known as exception handling. Okay. So till now I was talking about error, and error. But I need to now handle this error. That is known as exception handling. This is what an exception is coming. That zero, this is division by 0, which is not really possible, right? So in Python program, if there is any suspicion thing happening, you can just simply do that. You can use try except. How does it look like? It's just simple, very simple. Try whatever code you want to try, and I'm just writing pass for the moment. And if there is any exception, what do you need to accept? And then you need over here also the code which you need to pass. Okay, So over here, what do we need to do? Definitely this needs to be under try. Okay, try. So basically you need to try this out. Even this, okay, and then if this gives any error, okay, let me just delete this part. Yes, I can just simply delete this part. All right, accept what you need to accept, that print I cannot be divided by 0. Okay, and let's just simply run this. Okay, I take 2. Oh, my numlock was there, my bad. If I write down 2 and the second number is 0, see, I cannot be divided by 0. So now it's not giving me an error. It's raising the exception with the help of the, it's not raising, it's just going inside except, and whatever statement I have given for except, it's just writing it down for me, as the error part is not there. I mean, we do not want that error part to be there. All right. So you can write down anything. So this is how we use try except. If you are from any different coding language background, you must have heard about try catch. So this is almost actually this is similar to that try catch. Okay. So this was the very first example where we saw how to get hold of zero division error, right? Now let's try something more. Okay, let's add one more thing. Now you remember I wrote hello, right? So there is one more thing which you can do. Let me just print exception. There is a keyword that is print this exception. Okay, have a look. If I run this and I'll write 2 0, the class is exception, and this thing is an exception. Whatever I'm passing it over here is an exception. Okay, and there is also one more thing, that is after try except we have else. That means after you are done with all these things, you can simply print hello. Okay, so let's say I'll print hello, and I run it. So again I take 2 0. Did I miss out something? Oh, yes. So it is not writing right in the else statement yet. So what to do to make this else work? First of all, when should this else work? That's what you should know. But before that, the main thing which I wanted to show you over here is this print exception. The class is exception, which we are working with right now. Okay, now if we say with no exception statements, I have already with no exception statements, you can definitely I mean, you need to specify it, or else it will be very weird. No one will understand that what is it. But yes, you have, if you want, you don't need to give any exception statement. Python gives you that authority to do it. Okay, now if I talk about the other part, that is like okay, by the way, you can also write this in one more way, that is except exception as this is just another variable, let's say a. Okay, it can be e also. I have already used a. Let me just write down e. All right, exception as e, and let me just print e. Okay, I'm printing e right now. I'm running this code and have a look. 2 0 division by 0. This is what the exception is. Okay, this is what the exception is. So you do not need to specify the exception statement. That is not required. Python gives you this flexibility to do this. All right, now after this I also told you about few more errors, right? So let's work with another error, that is there is runtime error, there is type error, there is name error, value error. Let's work with handling value error. Okay, so now if I talk about value error, so there you go. For that, try again, a try block. Let's take a is equal to int, include an input, enter a number. Okay, I'm entering a number. Then you need to accept. What do you need to accept? You accept value error. Okay, there is something which is known as value. See, do you see so many options over here? So the value error I'm accepting, and let's print. It's not a number. Okay, it's not a number. So now let's just simply try. Okay, let me just comment this out for our easy use, and let me just run this. If I enter 3, it works fine, but if I enter a and press enter, it's not a number. It will give me, if there is value error, it will give me it's not a number. So this is what a value error is. All right, okay, so let's do something. Let's proceed with another kinds of errors and exceptions. All right, so we had a talk about try, except, and different errors. Now by the way, you can handle more than one exceptions together. All right, so by the way, there is one more thing with this, that is try, except, else, and there is one more keyword, that is finally. Okay, so Python provides a keyword finally also that can be only executed after try and except blocks. You cannot do this before this. Okay, so finally I'm done with this. So that is the last part. So you can also try searching about finally. Now you can as I said, you can definitely raise exceptions, but before that let's do a few more example of try finally block. Okay, so finally definitely is a very exceptional optional thing which is used with try statements. It executes every time, like literally no matter whatever is going on with our code, it doesn't it completely doesn't care. Simply it will just give you like whatever you need. Simply try finally. Let me just do this. Remove this. FINA. Finally. Let me print finally. Print finally. Okay. And let me just simply run it and show you. If I enter a number that is 5, finally, it's printing finally. If I again run this code and write down a, okay, my goodness. If I write down an A, A over here and try to run it. Oh, just press enter. Sorry. So it's not a number and finally is again written. That means finally is, if it is there, it will always run no matter what's happening above in the code. Okay. So this is about finally. So now we know about how we can like what are the different kinds of exceptions and errors that we can generally figure out. Okay, so if I talk about raising an exception, this is what raising an exception means. All right, so one thing you can try out, actually, you can also raise exception with a message that okay, let me show this to you. So try except value error. It's written value error over here, right? So you can simply raise the value error also if you want. Let me take an example for this. Let's say try. Let's num. I'll give int input. Okay, int input. Let me just close the bracket and then I'll write down whatever I want inside this. So what I'll write, that smells fishy. Okay, that smells fishy. Let's just oh my bad. I shouldn't have written this over here. Input a number. Okay, and in the next line, if num is lesser than equal to 0, then raise. Now we are raising an error. Okay, now value error, and the number should not I'm writing down the num should not be negative. Okay, let's say, and then even if you want, you can accept value error also. So let's just simply take this off from here and run it. So okay, EF while parsing. Okay, try can't be any day without except. Okay, so if I write down except, so you need to accept some exceptions over here. So simply you can just accept we have the value error over here, right? So we can value error as v print v, and let's just remove this because we don't really need this space. Okay, and let's run it, and I guess it should value error as v num. Okay, Cool. Now if I run this, it works. Indentation error. Num if raise. Over here there is a indentation error. All right, now it should work fine. Input a number. I'll input 2. Nothing happens. If I let's say run it again with a W, then invalid literal. Okay, and then again if I run that, invalid literal for int with base 10 W. We can create like we can create our custom as well, definitely, which I'll teach you later. But over here, these are the points which you need to know. All right. There is also something known as arithmetic error. Okay. If you want to raise it, you can use it. Errors can be of your own choice as well. Now, if I talk about custom exceptions, you can create custom exceptions for some functions also. All right. So there is a lot. If I talk about recursion, if I talk about raising exceptions, so this is one way how you can do it, definitely. The others you can practice and explore. 2 things you need to remember over here. There is try, except, else, and try, except, else, finally. All right. So these are the things which you need to remember. Talking about custom exceptions, you can definitely raise custom exceptions and work with them. Okay. So this is very basic about errors and exception handling. All right. So by the way, I can just simply refactor. Yes. Cool. So now you have this file too. All right, great. So after this, you can try raising some error if you want. But for the time being, you should know whatever I have taught you over here. All right. Okay, cool. So now this was about raising exceptions, how you can raise some different kind of exception, as well as already using something that is inbuilt. All right, so let's proceed a little. Till then, have a good day and keep practicing Python.